So if you've ever wondered what a closed up mine looks like, here's a perfect example. This was a big adit that went clear back into the hillside, and it's been collapsed in and sealed up, and there's still water seeping out of it. So this is called Tunnel Springs, as a matter of fact. And so there's probably a spring here to begin with along some fault line. It's probably where the mineralization occurred. That's why they mined it. And that's why, other than, opening up the mountain additionally with the mine, there's still water coming out of it. So you can see the trickle of water. And so we'll walk up top and see the top dump from where they had haulage up out of the top and air venting and stuff. So we'll go up there and see what that looks like. So I'm standing on top of where the entrance would have been. So some of this kind of rock is what you're looking for. You're looking for mineralization. Darker color, looks kind of baked. Has a little bit of fracturing to it. And so that'd be a spot where the limestone got cooked by hot fluids carrying mineralization coming up from depth. It could be the deposit they're mining. Here's an old can. Not sure how old, but it could be older than me. I don't know. So we'll see what's on the dump. That'll show us at least the gang material that was associated with the mineralization. Presuming there is a dump. I thought there was one. How high? See here the rock becomes a little more silicified. This is even better sign than just the dark baked stuff. Here we have some maybe even bona fide quartz coming in. Quartz a lot of times will carry gold. Probably not a lot at this particular mine. And this looks like calcite. Calcite's good for infilling and can carry some good material sometimes. This looks to be an old trail or road. So it could be getting closer to something that they'd built a little bit of infrastructure to in years past. Okay. This definitely looks like a dump. It's kind of higher and rounded than the surrounding terrain. It's got this dark mineralized looking stuff in it. Doesn't look like anything too exciting, but if you crush enough of it, maybe you get something. Iron, a lot of times they just went for iron and quartz. Regardless, just hope their assays came back good. So this is definitely a dump. And partially, you can see the age. There's a tree that'd grown up in the dump. Better if it was live for dating. So this would probably be the collapsed in pocket that they were digging out of. So this would have been a lot deeper before all the low S and leaves and everything filled it back in. Came down the hill, so they probably dug this out. And there's the dump right there. And then, yeah, you can tell now. Over here is where they really cut all through here and sloughed it off downhill to see what was in it. So I think this was just prospecting. I think the main dig was down below. So there were, I think it was 5 recorded mines here. And that was pre-1680. So in 1680, the Pueblos and some of the other bands in New Mexico revolted, and they drove the Spaniards clear down to El Paso from up this country. And they burned the palace of the governors, and they burned all the records. So for the decade plus that the Spaniards were kicked out of this region, who knows, you know, there's all these stories about stuff getting covered back up and hidden. And of course, since the records were destroyed, a lot of the people killed who knew about where these mines might have been. It's interesting that there were actually some recorded mines in this particular area, and only some of them have been refound since then. So there's still some missing ones. And so don't know how rich any of the mines were, right? But they were mines. They did work them. And, you know, there's stories and this and that about gold bars being plowed up in farmers' fields down in the flats and stuff on occasion. And things like that. So there is mineralization in this part of the mountains. And it was mined as a matter of historical fact. And, you know, what still remains to be discovered? That's why we're here. As well as just taking a look at what's kind of obvious and interesting and historical. Let's go a little further up. I think that was the dump I was trying to get to. It's really not as much of a dump as a prospect compared to the mine below. Go. This is mostly limestone that we're in here. It's good because it can become porous because it dissolves in some of the acids in meteoric water, so rain. And that causes it to potentially form caves, for example. Here's maybe another dig, maybe just a creek, or an arroyo really. No, it's a dig. Okay, cool. So looks like there was some kind of faulting or vein or something. They were following up the hill here. So let's take a look. See if we can find anything interesting as far as the character of the rock. Definitely a dig.